In this lesson, I'm going to start the topic of inverse proportion. Inverse. Now, in the last lesson, I mentioned if we have a direct proportion, they may not mention the word direct. But if it's inverse, they will. They will mention it's an inverse proportion. For example, y is inversely proportional to the cube of x. When x is 4, y equals 10. Find the formula connecting x and y. B, find the value of x when y equals 50. Right. So let's start the question by writing it in a mathematical notation. Y proportional. It said inversely, means 1 over. Inversely means 1 over the statement here. Cube of x. 1 over x cubed. The rest is as follows, as we did with direct proportion. So here our proportionality sign replaces equals k. That 1 over x cubed. But of course, I'm multiplying a number by a fraction. That number belongs to the top. For those of you who don't know why, because I can write k as k over 1. And therefore y equals k times 1k, 1 times x cubed, x cubed. I've noticed some of the teachers, actually they go directly from that stage to that stage. They just write k, change the equal sign, is proportionate sign to equal sign, and replace the k at the top of the fraction. Anyway, this is the part of the formula without evaluating the value of k. I'm told when x is 4, y is 10. So that means I can find the value of k here. When x is 4, y is 10. So I'll replace y is 10, x is 4 to the power of 3. Therefore 10, because k over 64, multiply both sides by 64, k equals 640. I'm going to replace it in that equation, therefore, or the formula, so we know the value of y when k is 640. So this is my formula. That was part A of the question. Part B, find the value of x when y is 50. Find the value of x when y is 50. So let's replace y 50. I'll multiply both sides by x cubed. Divide both sides by 50. Of course, this is the same as 64 over 5. Which is 12.8. So x cubed equals 12.8. find cube root on both sides. And by taking the cube root, you'll see that x is 2.34 to 2 decimal places. We have more examples on inverse proportion. The question is, y is inversely proportional to the square root of x. And this time I'm given the information in a table form. Given the following table, x, y, again, y given as 6 to find x given 9, and y is 8, 100 to find value of y, and x 0.4 to find value of y. So this is a table given in the question. Question is, complete the table. Right, look at the question. Y is inversely means y proportional 1 over whatever the question states, the square root of x, the square root of x, square root of x. So by now we know immediately we need to change that proportionality sign to an equal sign at the expense of equals k. And we also know that k belongs to the top. So the formula with the k to be found is this. Here we need to look for the boundary condition. Boundary condition is when both x and y is given to us, so we can evaluate the value of k. So here I'm using x as 9 and y as 8. Y is 8, x is 9. I'm going to replace it in here. Y 8 equals k over square root of 9. Therefore 8 equals k over 3. Of course, it could be plus and minus 3. The question had stated, which I didn't say, k is positive. So in this case, I'm going to ignore the negative value. So k equals 24, which I'm going to replace in the formula. So formula without the unknown k, now k is 24. I can use this formula now to answer. Let me just mention this is the formula, which I'm going to use to answer the questions in the table. What is x when y is 6? What is x when y is 6? So let's replace. All right, here, x question mark when y equals 6. Let's replace. 6 equals 24 over root of x. Multiply both sides by root of x. So 6 root x equal 24. Divide both sides by 6. Root of x equals 4. To find x, you need to square both sides to get rid of the square root. Therefore, square root cancels square and x equals 16. So we found the first answer to put inside the table, and that is 16. Now let's use x equals 100 now. I do it here. X equals 100. What is the value of y? My formula is y equals 24 over root of x. Y to be found, x is 100, so root of 100. So it's 24 over 10, which is 2.4. So I'm replacing this here, 2.4. Don't always expect to have a round answer. Let's use the final question. When x equals 0.4, what is y? Write the formula again, which is y equals 24 over square root of x, which is 0.4. So whatever square root of 0.4 is, or you don't even have to, you can calculate the whole thing in one go. That's going to give me 0.632 and it goes on. Or you could just enter that in the calculator and round in one go. So it'll be 24 over square root of 0.4. So that 12 root 10, and in decimal would be 37.91 decimal place. Which I'm going to replace in here. Now, this does complete my lesson on inverse proportion. So in the previous lesson and this lesson, we completed the topic of proportionality. I've done every possible case that they could ask you, whether the information given to you directly or in the form of table. We know how to change the sign of proportionality to equal sign at the expense of producing a constant of k and using the boundary condition to evaluate that value of k. I hope you have enjoyed your lesson. I've tried to make it as simple as possible so you enjoy maths as much as I do. So till next lesson, bye now.